In today's video, I'm going to cover 5 of my best value tools. Let's define value here quickly. It's price to performance. This doesn't mean they're cheap, doesn't mean they're expensive. It means that what I've gotten out of it has far exceeded what I thought I would get from the price. Now, to very quickly give you an idea of what I don't consider value tools. Something like this woodpecker square, overpriced. Something like this Klein screwdriver, priced exactly what it should be. It delivers exactly the performance I think it does for the price. This thing is just too expensive for what it is. I love it, but it's too expensive. So let's start with number 1. These are not in order. I don't want to upset the kids, so we're not going to say one's better than the others, but the best one may involve a green bear logo. Number 1 on the list is going to involve a green bear logo. That's going to be the Grizzly G0944 1.5 horsepower wall-mounted dust collector. This is the 1250 CFM model. I paid, I think, all in total for the wall-mounted dust collector, the 2 hoses, and the cyclone kit I made, plus their freight shipping about $700 or $750. So this is usually around $500, $550 plus freight shipping on its own. I obviously went a little extra. You have to buy a hose of some sort, so consider that as well. But I've just been astounded with what I've been able to do with this thing. There are times, many times, where I'll run this for a half hour, an hour at a time without turning it off. No hiccups. It just keeps going. It's able to pull the dust on my table saw, my router table, bandsaw. It's been an extremely valuable addition to the shop. The only complaint I have is that the remote's a little finicky. I have to reconnect it occasionally. Outside of that, though, I'm just amazed with how good this has been for me in my shop. Now, this is the version that does not have the HEPA filter. This is the, I don't know if it's 2 micron or whatever. So if you are wanting ultimate dust collection or as in no fine powder, you'll have to pay a little more for the HEPA filter. There absolutely is a tiny bit of that unbelievably fine dust that does come out of here, which of course, because there is a better filter available, unbelievable. I would buy it again in an instant. I would recommend it to anyone who wants a wall-mounted dust collector. One of the most obvious areas for me where the dust collector works really well is at the router table doing things like profiles. Here it is without the dust collector on, and then here it is with the dust collector on. We get a significantly less amount of chips and dust flying off of there, and it makes cleanup much easier. I do have a custom built bottom below to help house the dust hose inside of. Number 2 on the list is going to be the Harbor Freight Pittsburgh F-clamps. Now, just for an example, a 6-inch costs about $3, a 12-inch about $5, and an 18-inch about $6. They go up from there in terms of length, but the money only goes up a little bit as you go. It's not exponential. And the real value here lies in the quantity. Now, when I hold a Bessie up to one of these, I can immediately tell where money was saved. There is no way that I'm going to convince you that these are identical clamps, and that's okay because I'm not paying an identical price. I think these can run sometimes as much as $10 for a single 6-inch. Normally, I would have been okay with Bessie, except for about a 3-month period, ironically not long after my Harbor Freight locally came here and opened. All of the heads to my 6-inch clamps just popped off one day, and they don't stay on. They became totally useless to me. I don't know what to do with it. It's too expensive for me to be okay throwing away, but I just have no use for those anymore. I never would have bought 18-inch clamps had I not had the kind of Harbor Freight price entry level to get into. These have become one of my most useful clamps. There are a lot of things I build that are 13-ish inches to 15-ish inches. The 12s of the Bessie just don't fit, and the 24s, the other Bessies I have a couple of those, are just, they're too big. They're monstrous. If I'm clamping like this, I'm trying to carry it, it's up here. I highly suggest, even if you are Harbor Freight skeptical, you don't have to buy their power tools. You don't have to buy something expensive for them. Go in the store, visit, grab a few of these clamps. You'll end up using them, and if they give you enough confidence, maybe then you can buy more from Harbor Freight. I've certainly dipped my toe in over time, but I've just been extremely impressed with the price to performance of these F-clamps. I want to be fair to Bessie here, so I'm going to show you some of the differences. We first have this head size. We then have the back bar here, and these little indents are significantly deeper on the Bessie than on the Harbor Freight. That is what the little catch latches onto when it's going up and down. On the bottom here, you can see that the little punch to prevent it from sliding out. On the Bessie, it goes on both sides. This one, it's kind of just punched straight through. I think on the Bessie, it's something actually maybe welded or rivet on there. You can see in the thickness of the steel, the Harbor Freight's just not quite as thick, though it's pretty darn close. There is a slight but still noticeable weight difference between the two of these as well. Number 3 on the list is going to be the Freud thin-kerf ripping blade. Now the number one thing here for me is that this is one of the lowest entry points at $50 into a flat top grind blade. Anyone who has done grooves or dados on a table saw with a normal Diablo ripping blade or most other blades will know that you leave that little kind of V groove behind from the alternating tooth bevel teeth. These are flat. It leaves a nice glue-ready surface right on that cut. So if you're doing a half lap, dado groove, whatever it is, you get that instant glue-ready surface. You can't find that on any of the Diablo blades. Their 50-tooth combination has one flat top grind for every 4 alternating tooth bevel. If you've used that, you'll know it does not leave an actually perfectly flat surface. Now, for those of you who aren't interested in resharpening blades, you may not find as much value here. Part of the proposition is you can take this, get it resharpened multiple times for lower than the cost of a brand new blade. Yes, that includes sending it to Freud as well if you don't have somebody locally. If you just want to toss and go to Home Depot and buy a new blade, okay, that one may not apply to you. And then the third reason, if you have a smaller motored saw, I have a cabinet saw, but it's about the same motor size as the DeWalt job site saw. It's not a 3 horsepower beast. You will notice the speed of cut is significantly faster with these thin-kerf blades. It's only a little faster than the Diablo, but it is much faster than the full kerf when our motor size is not gigantic. So if you are ripping a bunch of 2x4s or whatever it is and you have to do a ton of it, highly consider one of these thin-kerf blades. Your motor's going to run cooler, you're going to get through it faster, and you have that benefit of that flat top grind on there as well. We can see pretty clearly here the difference in the surface left behind by the flat top grind compared to the 40-tooth alternating bevel or any alternating bevel tooth saw blade. That glue-ready surface from the flat top grind. Number 4 on the list is going to be the Incra 6-inch T-rule, which comes in at about $20. Now this serves a very specific purpose, and it's the ability to drop a 0.05 millimeter pencil into cut out holes at 1/64th increments and move it along a piece of wood, and then to use it as a square as well, though I wouldn't trust it as kind of like a super precision square because it is sitting in a T-track, and over time that can wear down a bit and not be super exact, but it's really darn close. And what I use this for, and I use this way more than I thought I ever would, is for copying coordinates onto other pieces of wood. So a lot of times I like to draw out a shape by hand on a piece of wood that I'm going to cut out. I just want to free draw it on there. Then I've got to put it on maybe 1, 2, 3 more boards to also cut out. And yes, at the end I can flush trim it, but I need it drawn on there for bandsawing or for putting grooves or dados inside of first. With this little guy, I can create a very kind of intricate coordinate system very fast. Stick the pencil in at, let's say 4 and 18, 30 seconds, line across, come from the side, 4 and 18 or whatever it is, come across. And I know immediately on that other board, I just have to do those 2 marks. I don't have to move a combo square at all. And if I'm doing, let's say 3 or 4 of them, sometimes I want to draw out the entire thing first. If I have to sit there and keep moving this over and over again, I'm eventually going to get lost. I can very quickly just check where those coordinates are, move them to the other piece, draw it. It saves so much time over this. There used to be times where I'd have 2, 3 different combination squares out, leaving them all to certain things so that I could use them later. With this guy, I don't have to do it. I can just mark and go. The Incra T-rule has 30 seconds, another 30 seconds, and then 60/4 on the dots so you can place your pencil in and drag. Some of them are wider than others for an easier drag or for an easier marking going vertical. Once we go across, we can make a mark there and then just come in and finish it up as if it is a square. And rounding out our list at number 5, though honestly this could have been tied with the Grizzly dust collector for the best one, is the Bosch 1617. I believe the kit is the EVSK or EVSPK, something like that. I highly suggest getting the plunge base when you buy this, if you do buy this. Now this one has gone up in price a bit since I bought mine. I got mine, the whole kit, for like $180, maybe even a little less. You're looking at more like $220 to $250 now. But all of the competitors in the same market have also gone up, so we're still getting a relative kind of value and performance to price compared to everything else in this same market. This tool was a game changer for me. The ability to do stopped grooves and stopped dados and to remove material in a piece of wood, to flush trim, flush cut, all of those things. It absolutely opened up a lot of doors. And there are things I sell today that I could not do without this tool. I've put, I don't know, hundreds of hours on this and it's still running strong. Yes, I've got a few nitpicks. I did have some problems with a little clip that goes on here. I have a video on all of this where I explain that more. And yes, a lot of times it does clog with dust and you think it's broken, but you just have to shove compressed air into the power button over and over. But it keeps going, and I'm going to eventually get another one to stick in my router table so I don't have to keep taking this in and out. I love it that much. I'm going to buy a second one. And I'm not sure there's any better endorsement than the fact that I'm going to spend the money to buy another one. If you're in the market for your first router, I highly suggest getting a plunge router, first of all, but I would definitely look at this one. That's not to say the alternatives are bad. A lot of people use the DeWalt and Harbor Freight Hercules, I believe it's called, but this one is a staple of many woodworkers' wood shops across the country for a reason. One of my favorite things to do with the router is to make plunge grooves or dados, whatever you want to call them. I lay it out with my Incra T-square, set my depth, and then I can plunge right down and in and make an easy groove. Now normally I'd take something deep in multiple passes, but for the purpose of this, anything 1/8 to 3/16 is going to be just fine and leave you with a really nice, crisp, clean groove with the right bit.